Thank you, Whip. We have another busy week on the floor, and of course it starts with the contempt of Merrick Garland. And then my colleagues have talked about this is something that we have been trying to get the facts out for months and months. Merrick Garland knows what the rules are. He issues subpoenas himself, and he doesn't let the person that he's issuing the subpoena to decide whether or not they want to comply. And yet that's what he said. He said he just doesn't think that this is something that he has to comply with. Well, with all due respect, Mr. Garland, this is not your decision. Congress has a constitutional duty to perform oversight, which is what we're doing. We're in the middle of an impeachment inquiry, which, as Chairman Jordan pointed out, has been voted on by the House already. And now we need to get the facts. You look at the White House themselves, they've acknowledged that as they've turned over the transcripts, those transcripts have been edited. Well, there's one way you can find out what the edits were, and that is to actually get the source tape, get the audio. That's the only way we're going to know what was really said. We know already by the White House's own admission that the transcript does not reflect what was said. It's only the audio that does, which is why we need to get the audio tape. And clearly there's no executive privilege. Otherwise, as has been pointed out, they wouldn't have turned over the transcript in the first place. But they've done it. But they've also acknowledged that they've edited the document that they turned over to us. Now we need to get the source document, which is the audio, and that's why we're moving forward. We're also taking up the NDAA, as Mr. Alford talked about. Really, really important that we send a message to our men and women in uniform that we're going to give them all the tools necessary, not only to keep our country safe, but to make sure that they and their families have the things that they need so they don't have to be on food stamps, for example, to increase their base pay for the entry-level men and women in uniform and all the branches of the military, to make sure that we're focused properly on China and the threats that are posed all around the world. Look, the world's a more dangerous place than it's ever been. We saw that again this morning with the arrest of eight ISIS fighters here in the United States because Joe Biden opened up the southern border. If anybody wondered, and we've been saying this for years now, that because Joe Biden opened up the border, at some point our country will be at risk and our national security is undermined. And it was pointed out yet again with 8 ISIS fighters caught. How many more terrorists are in our country because Joe Biden opened up the southern border, pre-positioned in cities around this country, getting ready to do us harm? So it just goes to show you the world is a very dangerous place. We need to make sure we have the tools. We ought to be working with the president to secure our southern border, but the president doesn't want to secure the border. In fact, under his own executive order, he's going to let another 1 million people in a year without ending the policies that are drawing people here illegally. We passed a bill, H.R. 2, that would fix this problem, and Joe Biden still to this day opposes that bill. After 8 ISIS terrorists were captured in America, Joe Biden still opposes the bill that would secure America's southern border. So it's very clear he does not want to solve the problem. You know somebody is that does want to solve the problem? That's Donald Trump. President Trump had a secure border. He's going to be here tomorrow, and I'm sure we're going to hear about some of those things that we're all trying to work on together to get our economy back on track, to secure our border, to make sure our military is focused on the things that need to be done to get this country back on track. So we're going to continue working to address these problems. I will finish with this. You know, we had an opportunity, about 60 House members over the last week to go to Normandy and pay tribute to the brave heroes who stormed the beaches of Normandy. So many lost their lives that day. And you can see the cost of our freedom when you're on that beach and you see the grave sites. But we also got to see something that was incredibly inspiring. That was about 135 of those men who are still alive, who came back to Normandy. And you want to talk about a special moment to be able to meet and greet and thank those 135 brave men for their service. And some of them were in their hundreds. The youngest one I met was 97 years old, and they all were recounting stories of that day. And then the French president, President Macron, went one by one. He selected a few of them to give the Chevalier de Legionnaire, one of France's highest awards, to a number of those brave heroes. And he cited the things that they did. And again, these are American heroes who went to another country not to conquer, but to liberate, to restore freedom to the French people who were under Nazi regime. and he pinned each one of them individually. And to see they were all in wheelchairs, and to see them get out of their wheelchair because of the pride, they did not want to sit down while the French president was presenting those medals. And it just showed you why they're called the greatest generation. And it was an unbelievably moving moment. And I know we have a lot of things around here that we talk about the battles and the fights amongst ourselves, but that was a time where the country came together and people did extraordinary things. And it just proves America can do those kind of things when we put our minds to it. Hope you all come out to the baseball game tonight. The Republicans play the Democrats. We have over 25,000 tickets sold and exceeding the record. Over $2 million raised for local charities. A lot of local youth groups will benefit. We're the reigning champs, and we want to continue to hold that mantle. But you're going to see a spirited competition tonight. Hope to see y'all there. I know somebody will be out there because he was at practice this morning, was our speaker, Mike Johnson.